Okay, today I have something a little different. I asked for some suggestions from my guild for one of my Vlogmases because I needed one. And a couple of people were like, show us your stash. And so I don't know why, I just feel like this is kind of like, I'm a little out of my comfort zone. So this is my stash, my whole stash. And I would like to qualify the way it looks because I am very practical. I would love like a really cute studio with cute shelving and everything. And if you ever saw me in my last studio, it had all those built-in wooden shelves with the rolling library ladder. It was incredible. I love that studio, but those shelves weren't mine. My stash looked amazing in it. And I had closed down a factory, so have so much of this steel shelving because it's just rock solid. I love it, but it's ugly, right? And so I got these bins, and I really like researched what would be optimized to use on my shelves. So they're like drawers, and they slide out like this. They are collapsible, and I think that's the one detractor. So sometimes they collapse a little bit, and I haven't figured out a way to make them stay in their shape permanently. So I'm still working on that. But I don't think this is my permanent way to store my stash. But the reason I'm telling you this is because one of my biggest tips for storing your stash is to fold your fabric so that it sits like books on your shelf. This way, when you pull one out, you don't pull out the whole stack, right? A lot of people store their fabric like this, and then you have to pull one out and the whole pile gets messed up, right? So I like to store mine so that they're like books. And even in these shelves, which is a little awkward, I still do it. I managed to do it. It's not as nice as it was when they were fixed wooden shelves and they could just slide in there. So that's one of my first tips. One of my second tips, I know you didn't come here for tips. I'm going to show you my stash. One of my second tips, I just don't want to forget, is if you have a room with a lot of windows or sunlight or a lot of light in general, fabric can fade so easily and it's really disappointing, right? So one time I had a studio where 3 walls were windows. It was an amazing studio space, freezing cold in the winter, but I loved that space. And the thing I did was, back then I had a lot of bolts because I was manufacturing, and it was like the beginning of my manufacturing. And one tip I have is to store, if you have fabric on bolts, store the selvages pointing out. And then I also draped fabric in front of it, but don't put your folds towards the light. Put the selvage towards the light. It may not look as nice on your shelf, but you will most likely avoid getting that faded fold line. So that's my second tip. All right, so let's get on with my stash. All right, so to say that this is my whole stash is true, but only this shelf right here is my fabric stash for things that I haven't made yet. All the rest of it is leftover from projects or just kind of legacy fabrics that I keep on hand because I don't want to have to buy them if I need any of it. You know what I mean? So let me show you what I got. So over here, I have this little crate here, which you probably can't see. And this is all of the fabrics after a project. So once I finish a project, I roll it up in a little bundle. I have a few like selvages here, and then I tie it up like this. And I put it in this bin. And then this is kind of like as if you're a knitter, you understand like having a little bit of yarn left over from your project to repair a sweater is really important. And it's the same with sewing, right? And if I put it in this little bundle and I can put it in this bin's been gone through a lot lately because I'm pulling fabric for gift bags. But, and then I just store them kind of on their end like this so I can see them in there. And so that's how I store like the fabric left over from a project. And if there's just not enough to do much with, or I really want to make sure I save it, I put it in there. There is some fabric in here left over from projects, but they're big enough to use for something. So this is just like my bin of leftover from projects you've seen me sew. This is fabric I've designed. They're just samples. They're nothing really special. These right here are quilting cotton, and I have them organized by color. They're kind of messy right now, and I also have 2 rows. This one's particularly messy. I've been tearing through my bins right now for gift fabric, or gift bag fabric for that Vlogmas we're doing next week. All right, this is technical outerwear fabric. I used to be a designer in the outerwear industry, and I really don't want to get rid of this fabric because it's really expensive and it's just handy to have on hand just in case. Sometimes I make a tarp at home, sometimes I make a waterproof barrier, sometimes I just need it for an elbow patch, and I don't want to have to buy that stuff. Like I said in a previous Vlogmas, ordering from outdoor fabric stores is expensive. So this is mesh. This is insulation, batting, soft and stable, stuffing, stuff like that. This right here is weird stuff. So I have this, like, my daughter went through a phase of wanting me to sew for her, you know, and she made me buy this really strange, remember this when it was really popular? And then we never ended up using it. It's super stretchy. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know, maybe this will be handy someday, right? And there's like some Halloween fabric or something. So that's basically all this is. On the bottom row, these are designs that I've worked on and kind of, like sometimes when I noodle on a design, sometimes I don't quite finish it, or there's something about it that I still want to explore, and I keep it in that bin down there. And sometimes it's a failed experiment, and I like keeping those too as a reminder so that I don't go down that path again. Sometimes it's something like a cool thing on, you know, my husband will travel somewhere and he'll bring back a pencil pouch because he knows I'll love seeing how they sewed it, and I'll put that in there, you know, like once one of us has used it to death and it dies, I put it in there, you know, it's like weird design stuff. And then to the right of that is just zipper by the yard. I have a lot of zipper by the yard from my factory. All right, this right here, these two pieces of fabric are taking up way too much real estate in my studio right now. I really need to deal with them. I bought this, and it is a reversible quilted fabric, like think sleeping bag, but it's probably not rated for any kind of heat retention like a sleeping bag would be. I did not realize this would be so big. This even shipped from the UK. I got it from, Fabric Godmother. So I think I'm going to I've been thinking about making a bomber jacket out of it. So in this right here, I am a Minerva ambassador, and so as a Minerva ambassador, you get fabric and then you get to make something with it. And you can make whatever you want, and it's a really great gig. I really like it. I don't take advantage of it very much. I saw this fabric in the list and I was like, that stuff's really cool, and now I'm kind of like, what the heck do I do with this? So I showed my guild last night and got some ideas. I don't think I ordered this much because I don't want to dress out of it, so that's I think what's puzzling me. I think I thought I'd get like a sweatshirt out of it, like something cozy for home. It is fully quilted. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably really dark. I put my light over here, but it's fully quilted, and I mean, it even has like the fluff coming out. It's got a scrim on the back. So it's like over 3 yards, which I know I did not ask for. So I have a feeling that they were close to the end of their bolt and they just sent it all to me. I'm not sure. This is a roll of stiffener. I use that a lot at chicken boots, and so that's my last bit. I don't have any more vinyl before you ask. I know everyone always wants to know where my vinyl is, but I don't have any more. I can't even make a notions case right now. So, all right, over here on the top are mostly all just knits. Some of them are scraps. There's a few whole pieces, but not much. Some of them are gifts. This is a bin of lining, and these are just utilitarian. Oh, this right here is waxed canvases and a few heavier weight things. Just things like I know I'll you know, be disappointed if I get rid of, and then I need something from those. So I just keep those all on hand. This is a whole piece of fabric, and this is a whole piece. This is a white linen knit. I think linen knits are amazing, but they're really tricky to deal with, so I haven't dealt with that yet. These are patterns, and I'm about to overhaul this for the new year. I'm going to bring in a filing cabinet. I'm going to take out a lot of these and start afresh for the new year because I don't want to buy any more clear sleeves. I don't really need more. I can just take out some of these patterns and file them away. That's my plan. I'm going to overhaul this whole wall actually. All right, and then down here, this is my little napkin stash. If you know, you know. I went to World Market during the panini when we were finally allowed to go out, and I had to go there for something. And the States World Market is kind of like a home store, but they also have like a food section, and it's a kind of a cool store. But they have a lot of like really cool napkins, and I hadn't seen fabric in a couple years, and so they were all 50% off, so I bought a bunch of napkins, washed them, and they've been really great for pockets and clothes and super affordable. So that's that. These right here are literally garments that I finally retired, and like this is an old skirt, and it was a pleated skirt. See, the bottom has the ribbon hems. It had a zipper on the side, and so what I did is I cut off the waistband, cut off the zipper, and then I keep it in this bin. That's what all those things are right there. And these are also great for like pockets and jeans and things like that, or just, I know those are washed. I know they're weird shapes. So here, these are just some cool or cute quilting cottons I want to keep track of. Those are all scraps. These are bigger pieces. They're also a little bit more current, and they were probably little like guilty pleasure purchases when I was at the fabric store. These are all yarn dyed fat quarters, and these are all a half yard each of the fabrics I use to make all the binding. That's what this is right here. If you know, I sell binding, and when I got the fabric in, I cut off a half a yard of each of the fabrics before I sent it out to be made into binding. So that's what that is. And that is what this is. This is the stuff I sell right there. I'm trying to get rid of that shelf by the new year too. All right, that brings me to the bottom, right? So the bottom on the left too, those are just all canvases or heavier weight fabrics for like bags and things like that. The middle is all my denim scraps. I don't have any whole pieces of denim to make jeans right now, which is strange for me. But those I could probably make shorts, or I keep them also for samples for sewing lessons and things like that. And on the right are all solids. This bin right here is weird quilt related stuff, and the bin above it is all solids, or what I consider a solid. I consider tone on tone things solids, like low volume tone on tone, and I just keep a rainbow of things in there so I know exactly where the solids are. All right, let's get to my stash. This is my stash, and so right now it is much larger than usual, I will admit, but I do usually have quite a few fabrics because I will just have a spontaneous project that I need something for, and you know, you don't want to have to wait for something to come in or whatever. So one of my favorite places to shop, besides Hearts Fabric, because we all know I love shopping there, is Maker's Fabric. And she is moving into a new space, and she had a sale, and so I got a bunch of knits. So these are all just cotton knits, and then this is like a cotton, or not a cotton, but it's a rib, like a wide ribbing. Not a rib. It is a rib, but you're not going to use it for cuffs and things. And I love this color, obviously. Everyone knows I really love that color. And then here is some linens. So I really like natural fibers and linens and things like that. I'm trying to incorporate more solids into my makes. And so these first few here, these two are from Maker's Fabric. They are both a linen. I think it's a 4.5 ounce. I've made a dress out of this. It's amazing. And then this right here is the, I think this is the viscous linen noil, or the Brussels washer linen from Hearts Fabric. I love that stuff. It's the perfect balance between getting something really drapey with less wrinkles, and it's got a little bit of texture too, which I really like. So either of those, Brussels washer linen, this is the viscous linen noil. This right here is the Brussels washer linen. It's black. Both of those are really great. So the Brussels washer linen is like a linen cotton combo, and it also doesn't wrinkle quite as much. I've made an Upton dress in red out of it, and I don't even have to iron it. It's incredible. And then the viscous linen noil, much drapier, not much drapier, it's drapey, doesn't wrinkle very much, got a really great texture. I doubt you can see it, but it's great. I love that. Anytime I see a really cool chambray type of fabric, I pick it up. I bought double the amount for this. I made my brother a shirt out of it, and then I think I'm going to make myself the Lennox dress by Cashmerette out of this right here. I've always wanted to make that dress. This right here is definitely like a, ooh, shiny purchase. I love Sarah Watts. She's one of my favorite fabric designers. I picked up this bird print, and it's just gigantic. So I've kind of like been a little shy about what to use it for. It is a rayon. I got this at Hearts Fabric, but I love looking at it. And then this year, I bought some Ankara fabric, which I am so thrilled with. Like when I went to that website, I was kid in a candy store. Like that was really fun. And so I got this. I'm going to make the Stocks Patterns bias cut dress. I can't remember the name of it. I think this will be kind of a fantastic, huge print in a bias cut dress. The one thing I didn't expect this fabric to be is really stiff. I've seen a lot of wax prints before and had them, and I was expecting something a little bit more tightly woven, smooth, more like a poplin, and this is a lot more like a quilting cotton. And so that's why I'm thinking being in a bias will be a really great fit for this kind of fabric. And then this one too, I want to make pajamas out of this. Again, it's a little heavy, and so I think I might just wash it a few times and make a shorts set. Someone in my guild named Terry made this little shorts pajama set that is so cute, and I'm like, okay, I can totally picture that. So that's what I'm going to do with those. I'm not getting these quite in my bins the way they need to fit. Got my buttons here. And that's what these are right here. I have the little shirt making button. This is a thing I got this year. I make a lot of shirts and button downs. And then this is my button stash. It's not very large. Sorry if I'm not blocking it. These are all my buttons here that are like, I haven't dipped into them yet. Well, I obviously dipped into that one, but they're like still on their cards. And then the rest are kind of divided up, and I kind of keep them on like a leather, or it's not leather, it's a cotton cord. When I have a bunch, I keep them like that so that I can find them a little easier. And then some of them are just loose. I have snaps, rivets, and tack buttons in here. I don't have a massive button stash, and which sometimes is problematic, obviously. But how do you buy buttons, you know? You kind of need the outfit. All right, these right here. Okay, so anytime there's yarn dyed fabric, I kind of go crazy. This right here is a linen, and it's very light, like it's almost kind of sheer, and I love it. Like I love the color of it. It's kind of this smoky blue. I'm trying to remember where I got this. I feel like it was Maker's Fabric. Pretty sure this was Maker's Fabric. This would definitely be something like they would have. And then I got a bunch of these others from Blackbird because I literally cannot resist yarn dyed fabrics. It's awful. Some of these I'm like, what am I gonna do with these? You know, like they're just kind of, you know, like this right here, this makes my heart sing. I love these colors together. I love this window pane, all-time classic. I just need a little time to sew some of these. This one right here was in the Fabric Godmother Dream box, so Dream Wardrobe box. I really liked that subscription, and the only reason I canceled it was because I kept getting fabrics that wouldn't look good on camera, and I was just amassing a lot of fabric. So that was one. I can't really sew things that are like checks and prints that are really small. The cameras will glitch a little bit. And then let's see here. So these are basically all yarn dyes, and then this solid linen. A couple of these are linens as well, but I like yarn dyed stuff a lot. And here, this was the other Fabric Godmother. It's a massive amount of fabric. This would probably look good on camera, honestly. I just didn't, the pattern I was not going to make. It's just, that was the other thing. I got 3 patterns and 2 of them in a row were almost identical. So I just was like, eh. This was a little different than expected when I got it. I was planning on making pants. It's a pretty cool texture. Now it kind of, I'm not sure what to do with it. This one keeps slipping inside my stash and I don't remember it's there, and I love it, and I can't believe I haven't done anything with it. It looks a little like tie-dye, but it's not quite tie-dye. Hearts fabric. They have some just amazing, really unique garment fabric, so that's where I got that. I'm not folding this up correctly. This was a silk, yarn dyed silk that I got to make a sagebrush top by Friday Pattern Company. The more I talk, the more I realize how many things I have not acted on. I'm usually really good about acting on sewing the things that I buy fabric for, but it's been a busy couple years, so. This was really stiff and crisp in a good way, like a silk would be. It kind of pained me in some ways to be like, all right, should we wash this or not? And I did. It is so lightweight. It's almost, you know, sheer. I don't know if you can see, but it's almost sheer. I got this from Mill End near Portland, which doesn't have an online presence. They are in-person only, and they get things from garment manufacturers and places like that. They have a really interesting assortment of fabrics. I got the fabrics for my Auburn blazer there. I got this, it was like a linen cotton canvas with this amazing linen lining. Love those. This too I got there. It's an eyelet. Probably can't see that, it's probably too bright, but so yeah, this is a fabric I designed. It's just a sample, and this one is actually at a local store, and it's got a really great texture. I like texture. I like things that are solid but have a texture to them. It helps me not pick a print, because prints are kind of limiting with what you can wear them with, right? All right, so let's set those aside. All right, and then lastly, these two bins are kind of odd. In the top, the first couple are fabrics someone gave me who was moving out of town, and I just took them. This right here is a UV rated fabric that I got from making my mom a gardening pullover shirt that went really great. I made her a little jacket. And I got this one as well. I got two colors. The problem with this color is I feel like it really matches our skin tone so closely. It looks like we're not wearing anything. So I haven't made anything with this yet. This right here is a 7-berry fabric. Have you ever heard of 7-berry? I don't know if you can see the texture on this. It looks yarn dyed, and it's not. Well, this one actually might be. No, it's printed on there. My husband has a shirt out of this stuff. I love it. This right here I bought by accident. I got it from Needle Sharp subscription boxes. She also sells fabric. She has an amazing assortment of fabrics, and she discounts them because they're left over from putting her boxes together, and she's a really good fabric buyer. I don't know. I think maybe I got this because I thought it would be great for my daughter because she likes yellow, but it is a stretch, and I love the detail on it. I'm hoping you can see it. It's really cute. And I think it actually would look really good with this as a lining for a bomber jacket, is what I'm thinking right now. All right. This is probably one of my quirkiest fabrics. But so Allison from Hearts Fabric came through here once, and she was with her friend. They were on a little trip, and she said, hey, let's have lunch. And she showed up wearing the Deer and Doe Aram dress made in this, and it was incredible. And so I had to buy it. I'm wondering if this is a stretch. It does feel, yeah, it's a stretch poplin. I love stretch wovens. Stretch wovens are the most ideal because they are, you can have some of the comfort of a knit, but the crispness and polishedness and the long lastingness of a woven, and I really like that. This one is also another accidental purchase. I thought this was a knit when I bought it, and I was just looking for some kooky and like easy knits that were fun for pajama tops, and it turns out that it was a rayon. I don't know how I missed that. This is from Hearts Fabric. So, okay. And then lastly, this is another needle sharp one. I got this for my daughter, and she just didn't end up being into it. Okay, this one right here, I love this one. I just got this one recently too. It's a little red print on it. It's upside down to you. This is from Warp and Weft. She has recently put her store on hiatus to kind of deal with some things that she needs to deal with. I don't know if it's up right now or not, but if you're looking for things that are always going to be natural fiber, have a good story, and be focused on good quality fabrics, like, how do I put this? I think you just need to like check her store out. She's going to have like fabrics that are sometimes imported, but mostly, I don't know, they're just going to be a little bit more thoughtful. Thoughtful is a good word for it. And that was one from there. I actually thought the print was going to be larger, but I'm fine with how small it is. It's really cute. Okay, in my last little bin, there's really only one thing to note in here. This was just a sale fabric and I picked it up and I just didn't use it yet. This was a spoonflower fabric that I thought was a much smaller scale, and it's continents and it's a knit. These are all knits, by the way. This one, I have a weakness for house prints. House prints are definitely one of the things I just absolutely love. And this is Houses. It's an Italian fabric. It's really, really beautiful. And as soon as I got it, I realized I'm going to look naked if I wear this. It just matches my skin color too closely. So I haven't figured out how to mitigate that. I think one of the things I would do is maybe trim it with a darker color, like a dark, maybe like a burnt orange or a black or even a navy blue. Maybe edge the sleeves and the neck with something like that, to kind of frame it so it doesn't look like I'm not wearing anything. And then this is just, this was, I needed this red fabric really badly, and then I didn't need it. So now I have a lot of red fabric. This right here is a wool. I got this at Milland in Portland, and I got this to make little wool shorts for wearing under my dresses and things like that for the winter time. So that's basically my sewing stash right there. And then I pulled out a few fabrics. Oh, this is just a stiffener, a muslin, left over from my factory, 2 bolts of interfacing. And that's pretty much everything there. My paper. And then these right here, someone else had suggested, oh, I want to see your oldest fabrics or whatever, things like that. And disappointingly, I can't find one of my fabrics. It's my oldest in my stash. It's very special to me. And I think that it's so special that I brought it home and I put it somewhere. And it's not sentimental per se, but when I worked at this fabric store in Humboldt County, who only sells natural fibers, she had this incredible assortment of Guatemalan imports, batiks, Ankaras. She had fabrics from around the world, always natural fiber. And one of the batiks was towards the end of the bolt. It's really colorful, white background, really colorful. But at the very end of the bolt, it was signed in the batik. So the batik, part of the batik pattern has the signature in it. And I just always really liked that. And even had a little border print. So I bought the rest of that bolt, and that's my oldest piece of fabric. And hopefully I'll find it and show it to you someday. So these right here are gifts from someone who traveled to Thailand. And I just haven't known what to do with them. They feel a lot like sari fabric. They're silk, really, really lovely, crisp, but slinky. And then these two have a good story. This one right here, when I went to Scotland, I've been to Scotland a few times. I really like going to the UK. And I've been to Ireland, Scotland, and England. And on this particular trip was my first time going. I went with my mom and my sister, which is a whole story in and of itself. And it was harder to find fabric than I thought it would be. But one of the places I went to in Scotland, southern Scotland, was also a place that had one of the last mills to weave fabric, and there was a demonstration mill there. The guy wanted to apprentice me. I was so interested. He was like, please stay and apprentice here. And he told me a lot about, you know, how, you know, that it's just, you know, like everywhere, that kind of craft is being exported and they're using fabric made elsewhere. And even for their royal guard, they weren't, you know, using homemade fabric anymore, which they had always done. And so there they sold something called a skirt pack. And so this piece of fabric, which is wool and obviously yarn dyed, it's probably 1 meter. It had a little cardboard like stapled thing with a hanger built into it, and there was a ton of them on a rack, and they were called skirt packs. And so I think ostensibly you're supposed to make a little pleated skirt from these. So that's this. This right here, I'm going to end with. This is a meter of fabric that I actually had to have ordered. So I did go to a place in Edinburgh where you can find your family's tartan. And my mother's maiden name is Makomi. And I found her tartan, and I had a meter made for each of us. Hers was lost in the fire that they were in, but I still have mine. And I haven't done anything with it. And I've thought about doing something with it. It's a really beautiful tartan. I'm really glad that the one we have is just reminds me of Thistle. She's a huge Outlander fan, you know, so that's kind of a special thing. And I think about making something for her in this, or just giving it to her. She doesn't have a sewing machine anymore, but probably should just ask her what to do with it. So anyway, this is my stash. I don't know if you can see this gigantic thing, but this is sitting right here because I'm making a button-down shirt for my brother, and I'm lining it with that. So that's my whole stash. This is it. And I don't know if it was very interesting or not, but hopefully, hopefully, I don't know, there's something interesting here. But, you know, never let anyone shame me for your stash, you know, because like I said, all I have is this little shelf here, and all the rest, leftover pieces I've used before. And you know, I'm not going to just get rid of it because I may need it. And that has saved me so many times, having these little bits here and there. And I also make a lot of teaching material for the guild, for skill building sessions. And it is so hard to find fabric that A, isn't distracting, B, looks good under a camera, and C, shows the detail for instruction. It is so much harder than you think it is. And so having options is really helpful, or maybe having an option, like if I get a paid sewing gig, like sometimes I make how-to videos, and it's really nice if I'm just like, oh gosh, I need a cuff for this sweatshirt I'm making. Do I have just a little bit left of that one gray I used? And thankfully I do, you know. So the classic reasons to have a stash, you know, are just in case, right? And it really has paid off for me. So I think the only other thing, like behind you right now, is all my bins, and maybe I'll show you someday my organizational bins of all the projects I have going on. Under my table is my bin of all scrap fabrics that I turn into mulch mats. And then I have a little 3-tiered thing that has interfacing solids and muslin for doing demos. And that's it. That's all I have. So thanks for coming. I hope that was fun. All right, well, we can't skip our letter to Santa, right? So, and for the record, this is the first and probably only Vlogmas that I'm going to edit because I have to put these videos together. But antlers on. I already have a headband on today too. It's one of those, like I was telling you about with the, check it out, it's really cool. That company, the beer, it's Sierra Nevada Brewery. Can you see it, kind of? If you know the beer company, this gal made these head things with the cartons. I'm not even a beer drinker. I don't even like beer, but these are really cool. So I'm kind of sensitive to headbands, though. All right, antlers, let's do it. This is a long video today, I know. All right, so dear Santa, I feel like our letters are working, so yeah, and if you guys have requests, please let me know. But I think I've got a little list, so I'm trying to, you know, make sure we get all of our letters in. All right, dear Santa, let's see, what do we want? Well, in light of my stash and noticing how many things I still have not made from some of my fabrics, like all of us, I think we can all relate to this. May all sewists finish 1 to 2 of their oldest whips, works in progress, or give us the strength to repurpose, retire, upcycle, pass along if you have to. What else can we do with it? I think repurpose, retire, upcycle maybe includes this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Or turn it back into materials. Hashtag no guilt 2023. I just made that up. Oh, okay, yeah, XO Saremy. And may you get your oldest work in progress done, or get it out of your stash. You know what? You deserve it. It's okay not to finish all of your projects. I do not finish all my projects ever. And I've had very successful projects and I eventually retire those or repurpose them. I have not successful ones that I retire, repurpose, whatever. There's always a use for it. You don't feel like it has to be finished and then donated or sold or whatever. You know what I mean? So when it's not staring at you, that little bit of stress being gone is worth so much. So, all right, good luck. I'll see you next time. Bye.